Hello, we're live. We are in the kind of secondary / new office. So hopefully this looks okay. Hopefully you can hear us okay. I am going to take 1 second to go on the channel and see how we're looking, how we're sounding, not signing. So hang on. Let's see. We are in the kind of secondary / new office. So hopefully this. There we go. We're live. We're ready to roll. Oh, we're going to destroy that. Okay. Hey, how are you? Welcome to the Daily Craig Football Show. It is October the 18th, 2022. We're going to put this here. And we're just going to do this. We're going to go right here. And sorry, we're setting this up on the fly. Where'd that go? Okay. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. It is Tuesday, October 18th. Last night was another crappy Monday Night Football game. It was between the Denver Broncos again. They're just living on national TV, aren't they? The Broncos and the Chargers. Justin Herbert didn't play well, but he played well enough to win. Russell Wilson did not. He is missing wide open receivers. He is really, really struggling right now to do much of anything. And their defense looks good. The Chargers defense played well. It's just the frustration on the sideline. Judy yesterday in overtime was all mad. Just really, really mad, you could tell. Melvin Gordon is really, really mad. He's not even playing. I know he was fumbling and things, but he's not even getting on the field. So it's just one of those where it's really, really interesting. It's really, really interesting to see what is really going on. So I guess in the upcoming weeks, we'll see if Melvin Gordon does play, if he continues to ride the bench, or what happens really with the Broncos. Russell Wilson is not the same as he was. It's all these interesting stories are coming out that Marshawn Lynch and a couple other people, I think it was Richard Sherman, said to get with him, you couldn't even call him or text him. You had to go through his people. And Pat McAfee's on right now. We're just watching him a little earlier. He was saying you can get with Peyton Manning, one of the best ever. He didn't have this where you had to go through a group. And maybe it's just a different generation, but excuse me, there's a lot going on in Broncos country and a lot going on with Russell Wilson. So we'll see what happens there. A big win for the Chargers. That was a huge, huge win for them as they, try to keep pace with the Chiefs out west. It really is turning into a kind of a two-person gig out there because the Raiders aren't doing anything. The Broncos aren't doing anything. And here we are. So it's very, very interesting. 2-4 Broncos, 4-2 Chargers. Just kind of a crappy game. Over the weekend, we did not talk really about the games yet. We talked about Thursday's game with Washington beating the Bears. Taylor Heineke will start. Sorry, he will start for the Commanders this week against Green Bay because Carson Wentz broke his finger, basically. He's going to be out 2 to 4 to 6 weeks, probably that 4 to 6 week range. The Falcons keep running the ball. They beat the 49ers. Both teams are 3-3. Very, very impressive by the Falcons. Their offensive line just dominated the 49ers. Patriots go on the road. They're 3-3. They beat the Browns. People are questioning Jacoby Brissett and his game management. Well, no kidding. If you watched him here in Indianapolis, you were going to question that too. The Jets go to Green Bay. Jets are 4-2. The Packers are 3-3. The Packers had no answer. They just had no answer for anything that the Jets did, and a really, really disappointing performance. They keep claiming they want to run the ball, and then they get in the third quarter and they just stop running the ball. So it's really interesting what the Packers are doing. Aaron Rodgers just doesn't look to be himself, but we'll see. Moving forward, it's still early. The Colts with a huge win over the Jaguars. They're 3-2-1. The Jags are 2-4. The Colts just needed that one in a bad way, especially because it's a home game. So they got the win. And keep it going. The Vikings went on the road to Miami. They won 24-16. They're 3-1. What a huge start of the year for the Vikings. I've been wrong. I said Kirk Cousins is going to cost them games, but he's actually helping them win games. They have so many weapons, and O'Connell is bringing a different attitude, a different atmosphere to that team. Panthers 1-5. They go to LA and just lay an egg. The Rams win 24-10. I don't think it's ready to say the Rams are back, but they definitely looked better. The Panthers just, they look awful. They've already traded Robbie Anderson. Who else is next? Christian McCaffrey probably on the way. Seahawks, they win over the Cardinals 3-3. The Cardinals are 2-4. What a terrible start for Arizona. Kingsbury said that he'd give up play calling duties if that helps the team. Well, something's got to help the team. And Kyler Murray, I don't think they regret giving him that contract, but man, if you can have a redo, I think they would really consider something different maybe. The Bills at the Chiefs, a huge win for the Bills, 24-20. That was a ginormous game. They're 5-1. The Chiefs are 4-2. Everybody knows everything about these teams. They're amazing. They're going to be so solid the rest of the year. It's going to be 1-2 in the AFC with these two guys. They are that good. They are very solid. They're well-rounded. It's going to be a great AFC championship game. Maybe look like a good precursor for the championship game. Cowboys at Eagles. Cooper Rush kind of came back to earth a little bit. They're 4-2. The Eagles won. They're 6-0. The Eagles just continue to look solid, and a little skirmish towards the end kind of showed how tough Sirianni is. He's got that dog in him that just they don't give up. They don't stop. They don't stop fighting. And what a great game for the Eagles. So let's look and see what's going on a little bit today. The Cardinals signed former Colt kicker Hot Rod Rodrigo Blankenship to their practice squad. Commanders are going to start Taylor Heineke, as we mentioned. So he's going to be there. Sam Howell will be the backup. We'll see what happens with the Taylor Heineke experiment. Wentz beat him out. Heineke understood that because he didn't play as well, and also Wentz had the bigger contract. So we'll see what happens now. Will Heineke kind of do more of the offense, kind of get a little bit more explosive than what they have been? We'll see what happens there with the Commanders. Delaney Walker retired with the Titans. One statement is, to be able to retire with the Titans means a lot because I feel like those were my very best years. So good for Delaney Walker. He killed my Colts many times. Randall Cobb is going to be out 2 to 4 weeks on his ankle. Thought for a while there it might be season ending, but it comes back. It was a sprain, not a fracture. So very good news for the Packers. Melvin Gordon last night, 3 carries for 8 yards. It was a close game. I felt like I could have helped them make a difference, but apparently not. So very interesting to see and hear that. The Broncos they stink. They kind of stink right now, and we'll see what happens with them moving forward. But it's a really interesting thing. Carson Wentz suffered a fractured finger on his throwing hand on Thursday, underwent successful surgery. So he's out, just kind of looking through all the headlines here. Mike McCarthy says that Dak Prescott is expected to be cleared yesterday, and then yesterday or today, he was not cleared yesterday, he should be today, and then practice Wednesday, and he should play Sunday, which is 6 weeks from his injury. So we'll see what happens there. Devin Kennard is signing with the Ravens practice squad. He's an edge rusher, but he will be elevated pretty quickly, I assume. Hollywood Brown got a second opinion. The Cardinals got DeAndre Hopkins back. Now they have Robbie Anderson. Hollywood Brown, it's not as bad as what they thought it would be with his foot injury. Small non-surgical fracture. He's out 6 weeks. So the Cardinals continue to struggle, and I know that a big part of that is because of the injuries. But we'll take a look and see. I think it's more I think there's a lot to do with the quarterback. I do not really think that Kyler Murray is getting the job done at all. He just isn't. So what's going to happen? What happens now? They got DeAndre Hopkins back. You got Robbie Anderson. He's just not very accurate. He's not throwing the ball where he needs to on a timely manner. And this is what's happening to Russell Wilson. And I know hindsight's 2020, but you watch these games and it's like, why aren't they just getting the ball out when they need to? Why aren't they? It's the NFL, the opening. You're open if you're this much open. You can't be wide open running down the sidelines every single play. So we'll see what happens there. The Broncos have got to be one of the more frustrating teams to watch if you are a fan, basically. Russ Wilson is going under an MRI for his hamstring. It could be a fairly significant injury, the NFL Network reports, so we'll see what happens there. They're not going to shut him down because they paid him too much money. They're not going to try to deal him because nobody will take that contract. So they're kind of is what it is, to be honest. Let's see. Kenny Pickett for the Steelers remains in the league's concussion protocol. We didn't talk on that them beating the Bucs, but that was just a huge, terrible game by the Buccaneers. Tom Brady looked awful, yelling at the offensive line. There's so much to get into there, but Kenny Pickett did leave the game. He's still in the concussion protocol, so we'll see if he makes it back for this weekend. Doesn't sound like he will, to be honest. Okay, so that's really it. Let's put a bow on week number 6. What else is there really to talk about? The Giants looked good over the Ravens. The Bengals beat the Saints in New Orleans. There's a few games that we missed there. Right now, if you kind of look at the standings, Buffalo is a game up on the Jets, 2 up on Miami and New England. New England's sneaking around there. Miami was the golden child a few weeks ago, and they've fallen off a little bit. But the Jets, 4-2. Pleasant surprise. See if they can keep it going. Baltimore and Cincinnati at 3-3. Cincinnati had such a terrible start to the season, and here they are tied for first place. Really, really impressive for them. Tied with Baltimore. And then Cleveland and Pittsburgh are both a game back. So as this division, it's probably going to be a slugfest through the year. It's amazing that Pittsburgh is a game back. They've looked terrible, but then one good week gets you right back in it like this, especially early. Tennessee is half a game up on Indianapolis. They play each other this week, which will be huge. Jacksonville's kind of fallen back. Again, they were hot early. Now they've kind of fallen back. And then Houston at 1-3-1. They're not very good. Kansas City and the Chargers both at 4-2. So I said that the Chargers had to keep pace. They literally did. Denver 2-4. Vegas 1-4. That's going to be a 2. That's a 2-horse race the rest of the year for sure. Philly 6-0, Giants 5-1, Dallas 4-2, Washington 2-4. Can Dallas keep up? Can they go back to that offense that worked, running the ball and not putting so much pressure on the quarterback? They're going to fall in love with throwing the ball a ton with Dak. What's going to happen there? Minnesota, 2 games up on Green Bay, 3 on Chicago, 4 on Detroit. So Minnesota is looking really, really solid. That early one over Green Bay is huge. Green Bay's got to get together, especially this week against Washington. This is a big week for them to get some stuff going. The South, amazingly, Tampa and Atlanta are tied at 3-3. New Orleans 2-4. Carolina 1-5. I thought New Orleans was going to be much better than what they are. Their defense just cannot get a stop when they need one. Carolina's out of it. They're in shambles. They're getting ready to basically tear it down. Tampa Bay, they look awful. Their offensive line looks terrible. Brady does not look accurate. They got to get people healthy. But again, it was like, week 9, 10, 11 when they won the Super Bowl. They really kind of just lit it up and boom, they were off to the races. So you're never going to count Tom Brady out. And again, out west, same thing. San Fran, LA, and Seattle all 3-3. Arizona's 2-4. Arizona, as bad as they are, they're only a game back. I think that the Rams, they did not look great last week, but they're starting to get it. San Fran's defense showed some holes last week, so that's really kind of worrisome. But we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens as we move forward. And then looking forward, week number 7 starts this Thursday with the Saints and the Cardinals. People are saying this is going to be much more high scoring than some of these primetime games, but I don't know. Cardinals, they've got to get their stuff together with these receivers. I don't know how impactful Hopkins will be. Anderson, hopefully they can step right in and you get Kyler Murray back to his normal kind of playful self back there. He looks kind of stuck in cement and just not looking good. And the Saints, they got to get a stop when they need one. Going into the 1 o'clock games, we got the Browns and the Ravens. Ravens need that one, right? They're better than them. Panthers and Bucks. Again, the Bucks are better than the Panthers. They need that one. Falcons and Bengals. That's an interesting game. Both teams 3-3, both sharing the lead for their division. Who gets the job done? Does that Bengals offensive line continue to look better than what they have? And do the Falcons continue to run? Lions at Cowboys. Cowboys should win that game, but the Lions are the fight. They have a lot of fight in them, and who knows what the Cowboys offense will look like now that Dak's back, right? Giants at Jaguars. The Giants should win that one relatively easy. The pass rush for the Jaguars is worrisome, but the Colts, with that quick 3-step drop, no huddle, really showed kind of how to beat them. Colts and Titans is going to be a great game. It's 1 o'clock. You never know what you're going to have with the Colts. The Titans are going to run the ball and play defense. We'll see how that turns out, but that's going to be a good one. Packers at Washington. Again, this is a game that Aaron Rodgers has got to get it together, and they've either got to run the ball a ton or he's got to be more accurate, but they should win over Washington. Jets at Denver, 4-2 Jets at the 2-4 Broncos. The Jets are better, right? They're more well-rounded. The Broncos are now in panic mode, so we'll see how they react, see how hurt Dak is. But that Jet offense is solid, and that defensive backfield is great for the Jets. So the Broncos will probably continue to struggle a little bit. Texans at Raiders. Oh man, this is. I'm sorry if you're watching this game, 1-3-1 versus 1-4. I mean, the Raiders are a better team, but they just haven't played like it. So that's going to be kind of a random, boring game to watch, but we'll see. The Seahawks 3-3, the Chargers 4-2. Again, the Seahawks, I think, are overachieving. The Chargers are a little underachieving, but they looked better last night. The defense looks solid, so that'll be an interesting 4 o'clock game. The Chiefs at the 49ers, that's a real sneaky game. I think the 49ers, they have to have a bounce-back game in a big way. That offense has to get it together. Jimmy G has got to be more accurate, and they've got to be able to run the ball. The Chiefs will run it up and down the field on you, and they'll score some points. They just cleared up space. They redid Travis Kelce's contract again, so are they in line to get Odell Beckham? Are they thinking about McCaffrey? They're just going to keep adding weapons. So the 49ers have got to get that pressure on Mahomes and keep moving him off the spot. And you got to keep a spy because he's going to kill you with his legs. So we'll see how that turns out. But that's a rough game for the 49ers, coming back home in a game that they really need. Steelers and Dolphins on Sunday Night Football. Can the Steelers continue to look good like they did last week? I don't know. I think that was kind of fool's gold. We'll see. The Dolphins expected to get Tua back, so we'll see if they kind of get back rolling a little bit. They've been really struggling and kind of just stuck in the mud without Tua, so we'll see if they get it together again. And then Monday Night Football, the Bears at the Patriots. The Patriots, Zappy is playing fantastic, so we'll see if that continues. The Bears, their offense is just awful. It's basically Justin Fields running for his life, and then he was the one I was kind of thinking about with it's interesting to see some of these younger quarterbacks because I feel like they aren't throwing. They're not trusting. They're not trusting the opening. They're not trusting the receivers. If you're open a little bit in the NFL, you got to make that throw. You can't wait for college like somebody's running on the sidelines with nobody 20 yards around you. I've only seen Justin Fields play a few times, and that's the feeling that I got. Where he was very slow to throw the ball to a receiver. He did not trust either his arm or trust the receiver to get there. I think he's also been told you basically can't make any mistakes for this team to win, and I think he's taken that to heart, which stinks because he should be able to get back there and make some plays. He's really athletic. He's a great player. It's just he looks not so great because he's kind of, not really trusting all what his eyes are seeing or his surroundings. So that'll be an interesting game as they go to New England. And then we've got the undefeated Eagles, Vikings, Rams, and Bills all on bye. Those are some pretty powerful teams on bye this week. So anyway, we started off Thursday night with the Saints and the Cardinals, and we'll talk, obviously, before then. We'll talk tomorrow about some of the news and see what's going on in the world. But the big news right now is Taylor Heineke was named the starter for the Commanders as they face the Packers. Hollywood Brown is not as injured as he could have been. They're checking on Russell Wilson. Everybody's still talking about how terrible that Nathaniel Hackett team is out there. It's really weird and frustrating. I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan, so I'm not one to sit there and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe this is happening. I thought the defense didn't get enough credit in Seattle. I thought his playmakers didn't get enough credit. He's a great athlete and a great quarterback, but he just isn't really looking he's looking old. right? I mean, he's looking old. He's looking slow. He's looking like he doesn't trust what's going on. He doesn't trust his teammates, it looks like. He says there's no division in the locker room, and maybe there's not. Excuse me, but it just looks like he does not feel comfortable with what they're doing. So we'll see what happens there. But that's it. That's it for a Tuesday. Thanks for joining me. I really appreciate it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Check us out. We're going to do this every single day, talk for 15 to 20, 30 minutes about what's going on in the world of football. Saturday, we really focus on college football, about what's going on in the day, and then Sunday kind of preview the games. And we'll preview these as we get full going into the weekend, obviously, especially with some news and some developments. But yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And we will